Travis Thomas here, George Balekji.
Never know what to expect.
Shakes his head every intro that I...
But I love the energy. It gets me up, so I can't hate. I just look at like that's really happening 2 feet to my right.
Yeah, and it really is how I am, as you know. I just walk around on cloud nine. I'm doing fine on cloud nine. And we need you here in the chat with us. 617-790-0928. Make our Boston has entered the chat hotline bling. Would you also email us, thechat@nesson.com. We always get to your emails. We play your voicemails. We read your tweets, so bring those in as well. But, George, one of my favorite pastimes of Boston has entered the chat is when we start this fine program with getting things off of our chest. And there's nothing better than a George Balekji rant to get off of your chest to start Boston has entered the chat. So with that, the floor, sir, is yours.
This just comes on the heels of the news of Kristaps Porzingis with the left leg injury. I'll spare everyone the medical term because I can't pronounce it, and that doesn't matter. But this is an injury that is deemed as rare, and it's his left leg, keep in mind, not his right leg. The right leg is what kept him out from the first round until Game 1 of the NBA Finals. But to Joe Mazzulla, when this injury goes down with 3 minutes and 27 seconds left in the third quarter, now given KP kept playing and didn't look bad at that moment, but when you fast forward to the fourth quarter and that man goes down awkwardly and he's out there on the court limping, hiding in the corner, out of breath, hunched over, telling you everything of get me out of this game, and let it go up and down, up and down the floor and leave him in. I'm not saying that led to the severity of this injury, but you don't know. It might have. It might have with him coming back into the game after he injured it in the third, pushing himself in the fourth, goes down, hurts his leg. You don't know what's happening there, right? Get the X factor of your team and the lifeblood of your team the F off the floor when this happens, Joe. I know you love your timeouts and you want to watch and see the team figure it out on the floor. But when Kristaps Porzingis, that 7'3" unicorn, goes down like that, just call a damn timeout. Get him out of the game because you need him if you want to keep your foot on the throat of the Mavericks. And he left it wide open by keeping him in that game. Now, keep in mind, we saw it looked like he did tweak his right leg, I remember, from when he got injured in the fourth. Who knows what it was, but it looked like it was a right leg injury in the fourth quarter. But nonetheless, dude, this just goes like, why are you risking it in general with him? Just get him out of there. Now, this, to really get into it, what this means for the Celtics, Luke Cornett, O'Shea Brissett, Xavier Tillman, get ready to play some serious minutes. Al Horford, you're coming off 2 days rest in between Game 1 and Game 2 going into Game 3. Again, those minutes are going to hike up. It just sucks, and you see Porzingis come out and say, I'll do everything to be out there, saying it's left up to the medical staff. He keeps deferring to them. Joe Mazzulla said it too. This is a medical staff decision. We're taking it out of KP's hands. But why are you messing around? It's just with him on the floor. That's what I get back to. And again, this was his left leg, and this is what he injured in the third quarter. It re-aggravated something else in the fourth.
Bro, you just bringing up those names that are going to have to play bigger minutes now gave me the bubble guts because you know what I was thinking? Daniel Gafford, Lively, they're both about to look a lot more lively, right? PJ Washington, I mean, these guys are going to attack the rim. Kyrie, everyone. They're going to attack the rim now because, look, we talk about the offensive production from Kristaps Porzingis, rightfully so, but you and I have also talked about the defensive presence of him and being inside, blocking shots, just being a presence, just being Kristaps Porzingis, all 7'3" of his glory, deterring shots, altering shots. All of a sudden now, boy, maybe that paint opens up like the Red Sea, and these guys are just going in there doing whatever they want. So that was well said by you getting that off of your chest. What are your expectations tonight for Game 3? Because, listen, where I'm at here, I think the Mavericks are going to win this game. And I thought that way with or without Kristaps Porzingis. Like, the Porzingis injury didn't lead me down this path where I had a eureka moment where I thought, oh, okay, well, this is the one the Mavericks get. No, I felt, and I know you disagree with me now at this point of the series from what we've seen in 2 games in, but I just feel as though the Mavericks are too talented of a team. A. B, it is clear as day to me that Kyrie needs to be back in Dallas in front of his fans, maybe get the benefit of the doubt of some calls from the refs. I think we're going to see a very aggressive Kyrie tonight going to the cup, as I said, with Porzingis being out. He'll be better. He can't get much worse than he was in Boston. Clearly it was mental. He could say all the nonsense he wants. He also believes the earth is flat. Okay, can we believe anything that comes out of his mouth? How's hell no sound? So now I think being at home, we'll see more mental clarity from him. We'll get a better game from him. Luka will get another pain shot because we learned that game 2 he needed shots to play in that game. They'll give him another one. They'll shoot him up real good for game 3. I think the Mavericks win game 3 and make this a series, potentially.
I just think they're dead. That was their shot in game 2 to show life, and their defenders can't stay in front of the Jays. And you given there is, if Porzingis can't go in game 3, that's a huge loss because every time he enters a game, it's a shot of energy all throughout the court. But I just think what defensively the Celtics have done where they never allow anyone on the Mavericks to get into a rhythm. If it's Luka Doncic, even though he's coming off a 32-11 and 11 performance, it was all about him going out and getting a shot early, finding assists when he can, but they just take away the corner threes, they take away the lob threat. Again, this is with Porzingis in the game,
right,
but also with him out of it when he's not out there. The lob is not a factor anymore, and that's what gets guys like Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively going. The corner threes they take away, and they're daring. Derek Jones Jr., P.J. Washington, above the break, so anything not in a corner,
sure,
go ahead, shoot it. You can't hit it. We know you can't. Go for it. Maxi Kleba, clearly not healthy. And that was someone that said, well, he's coming back. AC joint, this guy I bet on. He's not there. And then you go to the other end. Whatever it is, and the criticism that I do have on Jason Tatum, and I give credit to Joe Mazzulla here after I just came off lighting him up, but the way he has Tatum playing as a playmaker, Jaylen Brown being the number 1 defender in offense, Drew Holiday being the guy to calm the sea, and then Derek White doing everything in between.
Yep.
They are just playing a team game. The Celtics are. And the Mavericks, as a team, can't get it done, and individually can't find it. And Kyrie Irving, we can say, him getting out of TD Garden, getting away from that bad juju in that building, which he deserves. It's still when he's matched up with Jaylen Brown, who's locked in and doesn't care that they're boys, because they love each other to this day, JB and Kyrie, does not care that they're boys. He is taking him out on the perimeter, making him look like he doesn't know how to dribble a basketball, which is almost impossible to do on Kyrie. And the guy's falling behind him on that. And Luka on one leg, barely breathing out of his chest, with the chest injury too.
Yeah.
I think game 2 is a shot. When I saw them go down and how close that game was late and they can't pull it off, I think that deflates them. Maybe the snooze, if KP can't go down, gets her chest a little bigger, maybe there's a feeling of relief and go, if we go at these guys, they don't have another elite player coming off the bench and it gives them life. But I just think what the Celtics have shown and how locked in they are, because this is a team that's let us down all throughout the season, but to obviously play like the best team. I just think they are so focused, and it's being led by Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday that I don't see them having a lapse like they can, because everything's working, and they didn't play well in game 2, and they found a way to win. I think they fix it for game 3.
As far as the health of Kristaps Porzingis, and it should be noted, he's officially listed as questionable here. Let's go through both scenarios, because I think Mavericks win game 3, we have a series, potentially. You think it's over, Celtics, team basketball, have more horses even without one of them in Porzingis, they go up 3-0. Let's go through both scenarios in terms of Porzingis coming back. Because if he's questionable, this feels like a day-to-day scenario, and the player's telling you, I can play. The medical staff is saying, not so fast, my friend, right? So if they go up 3-0 in your scenario, do you shut down Kristaps Porzingis for the rest of the series? Hey, you're going to get a ring. You helped us get there. Chill out. We just got to win one more. I don't give a damn if the Mavericks win 1, maybe even 2. You're shut down. That's it. We got to think about the future here. Or if I'm right and the Mavericks win game 3, do you all of a sudden say, uh-oh, we need him back now? Do you sit him for game 4? Maybe you consider 5. How would you manage? The reason I'm deferring to you here is because you have called this to a T. You said, I don't believe the guy can stay healthy throughout the postseason. He gets hurt early. You said, told you so. Then I say, he's got plenty of rest. He's going to be just fine. You said, I'm not convinced of that either. Boom, he goes down again in the finals. How would you handle Porzingis' injury moving forward in both scenarios? They win Game 3 in your book and go up 3-0, or they lose it and all of a sudden the Mavericks are back in it. Give me both cases.
If he can play, he plays. Either scenario. They're lucky. The Celtics are lucky they're up 2-0 in this series. If it was 1-1, it was flipped to the other side 0-2, and this still happens. Like, they have the luxury where they can say, sit out Game 3. But think about the rest will end. The 2 days off will end eventually in the series. But I think if you go up 3-0, you can finish it in 4, you do it. You don't want to give them that life. Now, the luxury you have, if you go up 3-0, you drop it. Game 5 is back at home in Boston. The boost you'll get on the home court. Again, Kyrie cannot play in Boston. He's shown that since he left, right? But I think no matter what, if he can play, he plays. Because you put everything into this team to get this ring, and you know how elusive they can be. I don't care. If you get a ring out of it, and say KP is injured and he is compromised for next season as well, but you got a ring, it's worth it. For him and for them, they'll tell you that. If he can play, he plays. I don't care, 3-0 lead. Now, if it's to the severity of it's really close, it's like, all right, he can't play Game 4, but you'll have him back Game 5. That's a different call. But if he can play, and the doctors have confidence in it, he has confidence in it, you play him no matter what. 3-0 or it's a 2-1 series.
Okay, listen, I'm not a doctor. I just play one on Boston has entered the chat. My gut says this is a precautionary thing, as it should be. No, we get it, Porzingis. We heard the quote, you're willing to die out there. We get it. That's what you're supposed to say. You're a player, you're a warrior, but we're going to not play you for Game 3. My gut, he plays Game 4 then. We'll go,
one day off
yes.
between Game 3 and Game 4.
Yes.
1 day off.
Going off your scenario of if he can play him, I think he's back for Game 4.
And then you have 2 days off between Game 4 and Game 5.
Yep.
So no matter what, if he can't play Game 3 though, there's a thing of like, do you force it? Do you push him?
I don't think he's playing.
It's in the medical staff's hands. It just shows too, like when Joe Mazzulla comes out, I'm 100% confident. Like you don't believe a head coach right after any game, win or loss.
No, you do believe him because he kept his ass in the game.
No, but Mazzulla said I'm 100% confident he's not compromised for Game 3. Like his availability isn't compromised. It's like 100% no, he's fine. It's like just say nothing. But that's when people get Mazzulla from the jump. I'm like, I don't believe that. Right. He's lying.
Right.
Yeah, he kept him in the game like an idiot.
Yeah.
And again, it's like who knows if those injuries are connected, but it shows just have a feel and just like have some awareness for your guys. Like, yeah, Porzingis is still moving up and down. He didn't signal to him, but like look at his body language and get him out. That's what gets me with that.
Bro.
But if he can go Game 3, you play him.
Yeah.
And if he could go Game 4, you play him. But that day off in between does scare me.
You make a great point with Mazzulla because like we go nuts. We hate it when coaches don't tell you anything ever.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to let the age-old thing, and this wasn't just Belichick. Every coach says, we're going to let the medical staff do that. You know, I'm not a doctor, I'm a coach, and then we'll reevaluate and blah, blah, blah. Mazzulla's just like, he's fine. Rub some dirt on it. He'll be available. No worries. Bruh! And then it comes out it's a rare injury. Like, this is a bad look.
And think how it goes down where it was on his left leg. And he did collide knees with Derek Lively. It wasn't non-contact.
Right.
Like it was when he hurt his right leg, right? But now you have him going out there with an injured left leg, an already injured right leg. He's going to be overcompensating for one or the other. Is he overcompensating for the right and he further injures the left?
Yep.
Now the left is banged up, the right with a calf strain. Does he further injure that? Like, it is such a fragile situation for the Celtics moving forward. With or without Kristaps Porzingis, at this point, though, I think what I've seen from Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, 3 of their 4 next best players.
He left out Tatum.
He's doing a good job. He's just not scoring efficiently. But rebounding, passing, I can't hate on that.
Right.
But now but they have stepped up. They've shown composure. They've shown that they want to be the guy in the moment. And Tatum hasn't shown that because of the indecisiveness he has.
Sure.
When you're not letting him score early and you're telling him, get those 16 potential assists, right? Go out and be a creator. Pass up the layups for shots. When he's finally getting to the lane, and we can see an adjustment made by the Mavericks maybe coming where they go, score. We're going to open it up for you. Score. Oh, you're going to pass it up? There could be that adjustment. Let's take away Jason Tatum, the playmaker, make him be the scorer.
Make him be the scorer.
And then make an adjustment. And just how the Celtics are doing it to the Mavericks, take away the role players. We're going to make Jason Tatum beat us, right? But why I'm getting to that is you don't need Porzingis, in my opinion, to close out the series. And I wouldn't have been that way, but Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, and Derek White have shown me those three and how banged up the Mavericks are, how bad the role players have been. Those three can bring it home.
Okay, timeout. If you're right, and they asked Tatum to you got to be the guy tonight for Game 3, just for the sake of the conversation. If they make Tatum the guy tonight, is this disrespectful of me to say? I feel comfortable with that scenario because the Celtics have a 2-0 series lead. If we're talking Game 5, just for the sake of the conversation, and the Mavericks have climbed back into this thing, and they pick Game 5 to say, Tatum, it's got to be you tonight. We're taking away all your playmaking ability. I'm a little bit nervous. Is that disrespectful to say? I think because
it is,
they
but
have a
he hasn't shown
2-0
that.
series lead, this is a front-running situation. If the Mavericks defense dictates, look, we're just going to let Tatum cook. We got to try to shut down these ancillary pieces, including Jaylen Brown. I feel good about it. I think Tatum drops a 30-burger tonight. Maybe even go crazy and give me a 40. But if all of a sudden the Mavericks climb back in the series, then I'm not as confident. George believes Celtics take a commanding 3-0 series lead tonight. I believe the Mavericks climb back in this. What say you? 617-790-0928. Leave us your messages. We always play them. Also, you can email us at the chat at nesson.com as well. It's going to be interesting stuff tonight, no doubt about it.
I think even if they do that, though, that strategy, eventually the Mavs, they just can't keep up with these guys on the Celtics. And they can't stay in front of Jaylen Brown. He'll keep driving. He's found his way to blow by him. And they'll keep targeting Luka Doncic, too.
All right, now, that's NBA Finals news. But you could feel the earth shift with some news in competitive eating as well. George Balekji. I mean, I'm wearing a Captain America shirt, but the real Captain America is Joey Chestnut. He has been banned from the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, and I am appalled at this. George, this is all because Chestnut got a bag from Impossible Foods, which is a vegan brand that is rival of Nathan's. So now when we're celebrating America, we cannot watch Joey Chestnut do what he do because he got a bag from Impossible Foods. This is a terrible look, not only for Nathan's, but for America, George. I am deeply offended.
This is the most American thing ever.
Yes.
This whole, it becoming a national story.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're going to eventually, legislation's going to step into this. And you're going to see, Joe Biden ride in from the White House, sign something where Joey Chestnut must compete. This is what's really going to end up happening. Joey Chestnut's banned. He's just going to end up holding his own hot dog eating contest and live streaming it.
I'd watch.
Nathan's is in Coney Island. What is he going to go to Yonkers? Just go as north as possible on the island?
Nesson, can we get involved? Can we get a Joey Chestnut sponsored event on Nesson 360? I'm all for it.
I just love the drama that follows because Joey Chestnut did put out some tweets. And I find out today Joey Chestnut has a Twitter. Let's start with this one of 3. Quote, I was gutted to learn from the media that after 19 years, I'm banned from the Nathan's July 4th hot dog eating contest. I love competing in that event. I love celebrating America with my fans all over this great country on the 4th, and I've been training to defend my title that he's won 8 straight. To set the record straight, I do not have a contract with MLE, Major League Eating, or Nathan's, and they're looking to change the rules from past years as it relates to other partners I can work with. This is apparently the basis on which I'm being banned, and it doesn't impact the July 4th event. Sadly, this is the decision Nathan's and Major League Eating are making, and it will deprive the great fans of the holidays' usual joy and entertainment. To my fans, I love you and appreciate you. Rest assured that you'll see me eat again soon. Stay hungry, all caps.
This makes me sad,
So
bro.
he's saying there's a rule change coming down. Maybe he was already endorsed by this vegan Impossible dog thing. By the way, Nathan's does make vegan dogs.
But then
And
that's
according to
Nathan's
Redditors,
fault.
it's the best one.
It's Nathan's. Listen, This guy.
Consult Joey Chestnut before you make this. And it
Yes.
sounds like it's a he say, she say, whether he's banned or not. I don't think he's actually banned.
Listen.
But the rules keep him, exempt him from being able to compete.
I'm going above all that. This is on Nathan's for the sense of this guy is
The event.
Yes. Give him a bag. Like, what's the problem? Why is he going to impossible to get the money? Look, he should have a lifetime deal with you. I mean, look at all he's done for you, Nathans. How dare you tell him what he can and cannot do? He should be running Nathans. You should be taking care of this guy for the rest of his life, or at least his career while he's competitive eating. By the way, those were the tweets from Joey Chestnut. Well, the fans were equally as outraged as GB and I are, and I'm sure as Joey Chestnut is. The tweets came rolling in as well. Imagine banning LeBron from the NBA or Messi from the World Cup. Joey Chestnut is professional eating. Facts. That's a fact.
It's like if Nike held an event, the World Cup, if they sponsored it, Messi, who's Adidas, walks in, they say, we're not going to. You let them play anyway. They're wearing them
damn
cleats.
Right.
Same thing on the reverse if Adidas sponsored the NBA Finals, and LeBron's like, I'm wearing my Nikes no matter what.
Exactly, bro. The new favorite, Joey Chestnut. That's who. That's
Joey.
James
Chestnut.
Joey.
I had to reread
Joey
that.
Chestnut.
Nice beard. Nice beard.
That's from James Bison right there. It's facts. Joey Chestnut being banned from 4th of July hot dog eating contest due to capitalism.
Exactly.
Maybe the most.
He's trying to get the most in his bank account, and then Nathan's trying to get the most from their sponsorship.
Well said, McNeil. The most American thing of all.
I get it. Nathan's has their own impossible dog. But think about it like this. Like, Nathan's, you are a hot dog company. Now, is he going to wear a shirt that has that brand on it? I don't know. Your audience is not the same as that competitor that makes those impossible dogs.
Facts.
Get over it. He is why people tune in. Because 2023, 2 dogs separated 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Those guys ate 49, 47, 45. Chestnut had 62. Jeffrey Esper has finished 2nd the last 3 years, or 3rd. But no one comes close to the 60-plus threshold that Joey Chestnut does.
The GOAT.
Now there is, though, with Nathan's doing this, there is a wild card. Someone else is going to win.
Oh, please. I'm not interested in that someone else. I want the GOAT.
You don't watch people to win and eat a lot of food.
No.
You watch for one person
right.
to have 60 or more hot dogs in 10 minutes. It is disgusting.
Joey Chestnut's such a legend.
You
Protesters
watch
ran
him?
up on the stage trying to push him out the way. He put them in a headlock, gave him a noogie, and said, get the hell out of here, and kept eating.
This is what's going to happen. Elon Musk is going to swoop in. He's going to say, you're working for X, and he's going to live stream his own hot dog eating contest on X to compete with Nathan's. It's 2024, dude.
I'm trying to get Ness and 360 involved. I'm telling you right now. What say you? Are you outraged as we are about Joey Chestnut? 617-790-0928. Hit us up as well on email, the chat at Nesson.com. All right, so you had a chance to catch up with local comedian who stole the Tom Brady roast, if you ask me, Sam J. You talked to her about everything under the sun, but most importantly, her Boston fandom for sports.
She was awesome.
Let's get to it.
Dude, what's your, I guess, like pecking order of like fandom? Is it like Celtics? Is it Sox?
Yeah. It goes. Edelman asked me this. It goes Celtics. It goes Patriots. It goes Red Sox. It goes Bruins.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an ascension, I guess, of cooler sports before the less cool. That's how I look at it.
I mean, I say it descends into whiteness.
Yeah, and it's hockey at the end.
It's
I
at
can't
the
hate
end.
on that
But
at
I like
all.
hockey, but it's at the end.
What if you had to, for your like Mount Rushmore of like Boston sports athletes?
Ooh.
You don't got to focus on one team. If you go overall Boston sports
4,
athletes. Yeah, the Mount Rushmore's got 4. It's tough
Bill
with Boston.
Russell, Mo Vaughn, because Mo Vaughn just meant a lot to Black Boston.
Yeah,
Tom Brady.
of course.
And Pedro for beating up that old man on the Yankees. Hell yeah.
He went right at him and he took him down.
Hell yeah, Pedro.
I like that Mo Vaughn shout out for me. I went to Seton Hall, so he's a
Yeah.
Seton Hall alum. He's like one of the biggest names we got on that.
Yeah.
And for you, when you were growing up too, I mean, what was it like to be a Boston sports fan, and especially from like 2001 on to be in the city?
I mean, it was great to be winning, but also like you were hated. And I had moved out of the city, and I went to Atlanta to go to college, which is a very black city. So everybody hates the Patriots. No one likes like any of our teams. Like all of our teams, so like black Americans across the country just represent whiteness. So they're just kind of like, how could you even like these teams? And I'm like, cause I'm from there. You know what I mean? But so it was like being the most hated, but it felt good because we were winning. So it was like, who cares?
I bet, like a shock. I mean, going to Atlanta, getting the hate, and you're like, I'm from Dorchester, like I'm from Boston. But like, I guess anyone that's not from here, they connect Boston with like, you know, the Fide look or the Western look. Exactly.
Yeah. They have one very specific image of the city in their mind for sure.
Were you able to make it to any of like the championship games, like whether you were growing up or like now that you're a comedian?
I went to a finals game last year. I didn't go to a championship game, but I went to like a finals game last year, or two actually. I might have went to like 2 or 3. I've been going to a lot more basketball and stuff in the last like 4 years when I got some money and a little bit of fame. And people started giving me tickets and stuff. That's how I ended up seeing hockey. But I've been making out to some games. I haven't been to like a championship like big game yet.
See, that's what I think. Like once if you hit fandom, especially in Boston sports, you could actually afford the tickets to get in.
Yeah,
they're like outrageously priced now, so that's why I was asking that. I'm thinking on that.
Yeah,
the Patriots got to get back to a Super Bowl for you then.
Yeah, and then I could get some, free tickets.
There you go. Celtics are close for it.
Yeah, I think 5.
And you think 5? I think sweep.
5.
Now, I originally thought Mavs in 7, so I got to be candid. Yeah, but this Mavericks team sucks, and it shows how good the Celtics are.
I don't think sweep. I was worried though.
Game 2 got tight.
Game 2, I was like, we're gonna be okay. But they're playing right. To me, it's like the attitude and how they play.
Yeah.
That will tell the story. And I wasn't sure what kind of attitude they were gonna come in with. Because as we know, there are guys, so we know they can slack off later in the games, and sometimes they just don't come out with intensity. And you're like, are you guys here to win a championship, or what's happening here?
Yeah.
But they came out the gate right attitude, and then in game 2, I was like, let's see if they're consistent, because that's another thing. We've been kind of criticizing up and down through the season the consistency of that attitude. So I was like, how are they going to come out in game 2? That's going to tell me a lot. And then they came out with the same energy, and I was like, no, all right, we're going to be okay.
It was like game 1 when it got within 8. And like Luka had that smirk, you're like, all right, here we go. Like, come on, it's gonna be close. And then they just opened it up.
Yeah.
Game 2, they played bad. Like turnovers, couldn't shoot from 3.
Yeah.
We saw like the Drew Holiday, the Jaylen Brown effect of those guys holding it down.
That's what those pieces are supposed to do, and that's exactly what you want to see. Is like the team step up when it's time, and the right guys take the right shots in the right moments and do what they're supposed to do, and the utility players come out and be utilities when we need them to be. So it feels like everything's clicking. You don't want to jinx anything.
I know.
But it feels like everything's clicking.
I like that 5. Well, if it's a 5 call, then it's back at home.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to.
You're selfish.
5. Yeah.
Hey, get Sam J free tickets.
Right.
And 5. She's at the Garden.
This is just selfishness. It's absolutely.
I don't want to hate on anyone, but if you sit in courtside, I think I'd be better for Celtics fandom as a whole. There's like the courtside peeps. You like
but
watch
they need
it.
some real, I get what you're saying. They need some real energy down there.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like you watch Knicks games and like it's Ben Stiller, but he brings a juice, and Spike Lee and Chris Rock. We need that at TD Garden.
Yeah.
What is it like though living in the city now? Like Boston sports fan, but also going from Boston to being in New York City.
I mean, I'm gonna be Boston wherever I go,
of course.
So I have fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like watching the Knicks lose to the Pacers at a New York bar and laughing at them was a great time.
Just getting in their faces.
Yeah, I have a good time. You know what I mean? You already know you're gonna be hated as a Boston sports fan, so it's like you might as well turn it all the way up to the max.
Mm-hmm. I like that, and you still wear your jerseys around the city and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are they? I haven't lived in New York City or like the area in Jersey in like years.
They're not like crazy about stuff like that. We're more hung up on that than they are. Absolutely.
I think it's fine here too, though.
I mean,
there's the pockets.
We've been bad. Like we've
Fair.
literally like pummeled people at Fenway and like.
Yes, it's true. I'm saying I think it's gotten better.
So we're bad, but they're not. I just feel like New York has so much stuff, that they're like
Melting
famous
pot.
for too. Like, oh, we got hip hop, we got this, and we got that. Like they're like the Knicks are cool and they love them, but they're not out here like swinging in the streets over it.
Yeah, all right, that's
but
fair.
all we have is like our sports.
Yeah, here. A lot different in this
city. That's all we
city.
got is our sports.
I went to Yankees Red Sox like back when I was in college, and we were sitting in the bleachers in Old Yankee Stadium, or New Yankee Stadium, I'm sorry. And my boy that was wearing an Ortiz jersey, it got like sketchy out there. So that's where I think of like Yankees fans are worse, because security had to come up. They're like, look, we can't stop them. You either have to leave or you just got to leave.
Really?
Basically is what they said. Yeah.
I wore my jersey to Yankee Stadium. It hasn't been a problem.
All right, you're sitting in a good section then.
Yeah, maybe that was the section.
I bet it was. I think that's what it was.
Maybe it was the quality of
and he
people.
was minding his own business on that too.
Might have been the quality of people.
Do you hear, if you're wearing your Patriots jersey around the city, you still hear about, I hate to bring it up, 07, 11, I'll whisper
Of course. That's they have that.
That's all they got.
They have that, and you can't take it from them.
Right.
And if I was them and I had it, I'd use it.
All right, fair. You'd be petty too,
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
like that. Where were you in 2007, that Super Bowl?
Helmet catch.
Yes, Tyree helmet catch.
I was
08.
I was somewhere with Giants fans. I know that.
Oh.
And I regretted that decision quite heavily. I believe I was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was in Atlanta at a house. They were watching at a house.
But you were still watching with Giants fans even though you were in
But
Atlanta?
there are no...
Falcons fans,
Yeah,
because
like
they suck.
Right. Atlanta doesn't have... they're very fair weather fans there. So it was a house of Giants fans or people that were rooting for the Giants.
They were rooting for them just because they hate the Patriots.
Yeah,
right?
I should say. When that happened, it was very depressing.
Were you like at least on home turf, like at your house, or like
Nope.
was it in a bar?
No,
a
I
friend's
was
place?
at someone else's house.
At least you could leave quick, I guess.
Yeah, I left.
What about 2011? Did you learn from that, or did you still watch with like Giants fans?
I watched with some Giants fans again. Yeah.
That was the worst because, like, I go back to 04. You see what happens with the Yankees and Sox, right? And then 07, it's a perfect season. It's Eli, it's helmet catch. You're like, all right, that sucks.
I
Like,
don't trust our perfect seasons ever.
right? Like when that happens,
It's
anyone's like, oh,
sketchy.
the 13-0, 14-0. I'm like, stop.
I did not want
lose.
the Celtics to have a perfect season this
Oh
season.
yeah.
I was like, please no, because we have bad luck with perfect seasons.
It goes back to like when you're playing so good all regular season, like, no, you want them to get that adversity. You want them to be challenged. I was big even on like, I wanted Porzingis. Like I was like watching his health. They were sitting him out. And I was like watching his health on that of like what could happen, right? And yeah, it happened in the first round, but like that's what I was holding my breath on of like just keep them ready for the finals, and they did.
Right.
But that's what I think with like the perfect seasons too in the NFL. It's like 12-0, 13-0. You want them to lose.
Yeah.
So, but then you think of like 2011 too. It's like all over again.
Yeah.
And it's just like it sucks because it was Eli.
It was Eli.
It was the
again.
Giants again. It was Eli again.
It was very depressing.
It was Gronk with a bad ankle in 2011.
Yeah. And it's like, you just don't like those humps you can't beat. You know what I mean? It's like, dang, that's a mark on the legacy. Is like, we couldn't get past the Giants and Eli. You know?
Yeah, the one thing. Even Brady at the roast, like at the end, he was like, F you Eli, F you New York twice. The only people he can't ever say anything to.
Yeah, because he can't, Eli got two on him. That's crazy.
Yeah. What about, now, I mean, I ask, what about 2008 when the Celtics won the NBA title with Paul Pierce and KG? Where were you for that? Let's talk good now.
I was in Atlanta at ESPN Zone.
Oh.
When the ESPN Zone was a thing in Atlanta,
Yeah?
I was at the ESPN Zone in Atlanta watching it on the big screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it was all Lakers fans.
Because I guess, what was it? It was February 08, Pats losing the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then later, summertime, Celtics bounce back and pick Boston back up.
Yeah.
That had to have felt nice then.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Were you in Atlanta for 28-3 or were you in New York City at that time?
Oh, no. I was in LA.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you can't even rub it in the Atlanta fans then.
They were Atlanta fans there too.
Surprising enough in LA, I guess.
Yeah, everybody was going for Atlanta. At that point, it was the black team versus the white team,
Yeah, fair, I guess, on that point. And you're like the one like black fan of the Patriots at that point. They're like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Blink twice if you're all right. If you need to be saved, right?
Exactly.
And so when you started your career, like how did you get into comedy?
Doing open mics around the city.
Yeah,
honestly.
Here in Boston.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was your first open mic? Where was it?
Ooh, it was at this place called Biff's Lounge, which was in a lodge in like Grove Hall. That was the first mic I did.
Yeah.
It was not good. And then there used to be this place called Rogies that was kind of over there by like BU. Mm-hmm. And then there's the Grandma Cellar, which was by Fenway and the old Howard Johnson's where the Chinese food restaurant was, downstairs in their basement. And it was called Grandma's Basement. And then there was the Comedy Studio, and the Middle East had an open mic.
Yep.
And just like doing that.
Middle East and Central.
Somerville had the Tavern at the End of the World.
Yep. My buddy does open mic there every once in a while too.
Yeah.
That's like going in like wherever you can find it. Just practice, right?
Absolutely.
How long were you doing that for?
Like 3-4 years.
Were you working like full time at the same time too?
Yeah, I was working at John Hancock in the mailroom.
Oh no shit. Oh, and that's persistency. That's what I'm thinking when I hear that.
Yeah.
So, and when were you finally like, all right, I'm good. I'm gonna quit this job, like a great job at John Hancock, and then
honestly, I had left John Hancock and I was working for this like shipping company, and we were shipping sperm all over the country essentially and tracking it to make sure it got there.
Wait, shipping what?
Sperm.
That's a unique job.
For like fertility stuff.
Got it.
So we had to like track it because it had to get there, and so because it was refrigerated, it was all this stuff.
Yeah.
So that was basically the job, though, is you were kind of tracking sperm across the nation.
Crazy.
And I got invited to do this comedy festival, and I asked for the time off to do the festival, and then the boss came in. I don't even remember her name, but I'm positive this woman hates me. She came in and told me I couldn't because her family was coming in town that weekend. It was like some craziness, and I was like,
right?
I'm going to this festival anyway.
Yeah.
So at that point, I decided I'm going to the festival. I don't care. And I kind of just was like, man, F this job. Like, something just clicked. And I was like, I just don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to be a stand-up. And so I went to lunch and I just didn't come back. And then she called me and she was like, are you not coming back? And I was like, no. And she was like, this is wildly unprofessional and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, nah. And she was like, well, I'm going to give you a terrible reference and I'll make sure that other employees. And I was like, I'm never going to apply for a job again, so I don't care.
That's awesome.
And I went to the festival and I just didn't ever get a job again.
And what was that next step like then? Because you like basically burned the ships. You're like, I'm not gonna have full-time income, everything like that. Like you take the risk.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you could always go back to a full-time job. But
Yeah.
Once you said like, all right, I'm gonna go full into it. Like, what was that next step? Because how do you go from chasing open mics around the city to now basically where you're at now?
At that point, I had already started getting a little bit of like paid shows, and I was like hosting slays sometimes, thanks to Jonathan Gates, who allowed me to do that. So I had figured out like, a little $150 show here, a little $200 show here. I was like, I could string enough money together to like get rent and like survive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of just like moved expeditiously. I went to do that festival. That's where I met my manager. She's still my manager to this day.
Sweet.
Kara Baker. And then by that summer, in the summer, I had moved to LA.
Okay.
Started doing mics and stuff around LA. Kind of got known on the LA scene. That year, I got new faces at Just for Laughs. So things just started to go.
What year was that when you went to LA?
It was like 16, 17.
Timelines always interest me with this stuff.
It had to be like 16.
And then was it like 17, 18 you got to SNL?
Yep, exactly.
And so were you still able to do comedy on the side? Because you were writing for SNL,
yeah,
right?
I was doing comedy at night. After I would leave SNL or leave Writers Night, I would go to the Cellar because they were open late.
Yeah.
And I would do late sets at the Cellar, like midnight sets and shit like that at the Cellar. Ooh, can I say shit?
You're good. We'll edit it out. I cursed a few times anyway. You'd be comfortable on this. And so you went from LA back to East Coast, New York City when you went SNL. Mm-hmm. What did you learn from being on SNL? Because you were there for a few years.
Yeah, I learned how to write, really. That was my first writing job, and I had never written, sketch before. Okay. So learning how to write sketch and just learning my voice in that way. I knew my stand-up voice, but I didn't really know my writing voice yet, you know? So learning just who I am as an artist in that way. It taught me a lot about production,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I learned a lot about, behind the camera and sets and design and just how to make things look real and all that kind of. I learned a bunch, honestly. It was like a intense internship.
And I read it was an internship, or you feel like that's how it was.
No, it was like that. No, I said it was like an intense internship.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, if you're putting all that work in, I'm hoping it wouldn't be an
no,
internship like I paid. Yeah, okay. And I read that you were the one that pitched and put together the Black Jeopardy skit.
No, that was already
wrong?
a sketch. That was already a sketch that existed before I got there. So
okay.
That's a Brian Tucker and Michael Che thing that they had been doing for a while. They had done with Tom Hanks. They had done with.
I saw the Tom Hanks one.
Yeah, I just worked on the Chadwick Boseman one, but they had been doing that. I don't know if we maybe 3-4 seasons.
I mean,
before
that's
got
sick.
there.
You were working on like the most iconic one. It was like, what is it, like Damn Karen with like the egg salad thing?
Yeah.
And when you go from SNL, like going into the full-time comedy now, did SNL help you out with like when you did Bust Down and your Max series?
Of course,
and all that?
yeah, that's what I mean. Like that was me, like learning production and learning not just like how to write, but like how to put things in front of the camera and like how to make television. Definitely informed. It informed the special. It informed Bust Down. It informed Pause. All of it.
What do you like more, doing the sketch writing and that kind of stuff, or do you prefer to be up on the stage?
I like both. You know
comedy.
what I mean? Yeah, I think they both feed each other in different ways. Sometimes, like I can do things in writing that I can't do on stage, and sometimes I can do things on stage that I can't do in writing. So I like both.
When you're going across the country, what city is like your favorite comedy city?
DC's always fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it the crowd? Like
DC has great crowds.
Yeah. What about it?
They're just comedy savvy, like Boston.
Okay.
Boston's a comedy savvy town. Like, you know, they get it. They're with it. You know what I mean? Smart.
Yeah.
You know, they're politically aware. They're aware of the goings-ons in the world. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, like, that kind of makes for good audiences.
Do you need like an understanding from the audience to like, hey, this is comedy? Like, I'm going to get these jokes off. Like, you know, some people might be like, oh, like not liking a joke because it gets political. But it's like, if you're in this spot, like, I'm going to make my jokes. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think to some degree, at some point, you can't really think about that.
Yeah.
You know, like, you just got to kind of go for what you came to do. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, at the end of the day, they did come to a comedy club. Like, it's like, what do you want from me?
Yeah. I just think for like me, like my parents being like Middle Eastern immigrants, like there would be jokes made about that. And I'm like, what can I do? I'm going to laugh.
Right.
You know, and it's like, it's one of those where like, I don't agree with it, but like, it's comedy. I signed up to be here. That's why I ask about that understanding of it. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think sometimes too, it's like you can laugh at something and not necessarily agree with
Yep.
the entire sentiment of the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, comedians only expressing their POV, so you're not gonna go along with every single part of it. You know, so there should be some expectation on both sides of like, you're not gonna love everything that comes out of my mouth if I'm being honest and up here, you know.
Is there any city you've been like doing comedy in? You're like, I can't believe I'm here. Whether it's like for a good reason, like this is me in a big venue in LA or Boston, or if you're like, I don't know, middle of nowhere, like Northern Canada, you're like, I can't believe my career's brought me here. Like, what am I doing here?
Both. Like, you know, there's like when I was in Salt Lake City 4 months ago, I was like, what am I doing? Utah, you know what I mean? Like, I have no business here, you know?
Yeah.
But then also like when I did the arena with Dave in Toronto, and I was like, I can't believe I'm doing like an arena in Toronto and I'm walking all behind everything and doing MSG even, or, you know? So yeah, it's like, I think both happen all the time. You know, there's times where I'm like, holy crap, is this happening? Like doing the Forum at all, even if it wasn't just like my set, but like doing the roast and standing in the Forum and being like, what the hell, to like, you know, being somewhere like Winnipeg, Canada, and being like, why did I say yes to
Cold
this?
as hell.
Right.
White as hell up there.
Right. They're known for Winnie the Pooh, actually.
Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Is that where it was written or created?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, something. I don't know. I never watched that growing up, honestly.
George, you're such a great interviewer. Like, of course,
thanks, man.
Sam J, I knew it was going to be funny.
Yeah,
and
super
she was
easy to talk to.
brilliant, just like she was at the roast. So I was not shocked by that. Shout outs to her. But you have a very conversational style, and you get people to open up. You get me to do it. Every single Boston has entered the chat. So fantastic work by you, my friend.
It's just the dumb curiosity in my brain. I would say that's my biggest strength. I'm just always curious. Curious George.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she was cool from the get. And I got to say to Sam J, thank you for taking the time to come in.
Yes.
Literally landed in Logan. And right from the airport, came here to Watertown. Didn't stop in her hotel. Salt of the earth, dope ass person.
Wow.
Check out the full interview. We'll have that posted shortly. But she was awesome. Talked about everything from the roast. Obviously, that was sick. And she didn't take for granted the impact it had on her career, what it means for her to perform in the Wilbur in Boston, September
Sure.
7th. Check her out.
Yes.
And SNL, as you guys just heard, just everything. She's awesome. I want to have her back on.
Bro, if she's coming back here to do a show in September, we've got to have her back before
I'm down.
that.
I'm down.
Promote the show, talk some more. She knows her sports, dog.
She has a great Celtics take. Check it out in the latest episode of Hold My Banner.
Yes.
Me and her, lockstep. She read my mind. We're best friends.
By the
basically.
way, Patriots talk on Foxborough Rush. Celtics talk on Hold My Banner. She's all over the network, so check those shows out wherever you get your podcast. Of course, Nessun's YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all of it. Also, make sure you follow us on all your social media accounts as well for all of our best content. That was well done, my friend.
Thanks, bro.
You know, in closing today, here's what I learned. Sam J is kick-ass. You do kick-ass interviews. And free Joey Chestnut!
For America! What do you think Roll Tide Willie would do?
He would say, I don't give a damn about nothing but Joey Chestnut for America.
It's Joey Chestnut, Caitlin Clark. They're bigger than who they compete for. They are the league.
For Boston has entered the chat and America. Travis Thomas, George Balekji. Till next time, peace.
Later.